city is headed for a disaster of biblical proportion. Biblical. What he means is Old Testament, yeah, they are real wrath of God type stuff. Fire and brimstone coming down from the sky. Rivers and seas boiling. 4 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes, the dead rising from the grave. Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together. That's hysteria.
Broadcasting live from the WDCE studios out of the University of Richmond, you're listening to 90.1 FM from the most trusted puppet in media. Reporting since Roswell, I'm Sam Newsman, and this is Saturday morning. I want to thank everyone, of course, for joining into the show. Here we are. It is the 10th day of December, the year 2022. It is 9:15 a.m. here in the morning. I want to thank everyone for, of course, joining in and listening here this morning. The phone number, of course, 804-289-UR90. 804-289-8790 to be a part of the show. We'll be opening up the phone lines here in the next segment after Deep Cut Dave calls in and talks to us about some cartoons. That might be at the top of next hour, too. Who knows? Anyways, like I said, here we are. We are broadcasting live. It's been an interesting week, as you all know. It's been a very, very interesting week. You know, last week, I think when I started off the show, I was talking about the Four Horsemen Studios. The Four Horsemen Studios. Yes, the Four Horsemen Studios, which is an action figure production company. An action figure production company with background in making sculpts for the Masters of the Universe 2000X line. They also did the Masters of the Universe Classics line. They have their own line called Mythic Legions and a new one coming out here pretty soon known as Cosmic Legions. I do believe they do some work also on the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line as well. But anyways, last Saturday at 9 o'clock, they released Father Christmas. Father Christmas, of course, as you can see right over here over my shoulder, who is here in the studio with us today. My question is, did you get yourself a Father Christmas? And of course, you can also see he is on a moose. That is actually not a moose. That's Rudolph. There is a red nose over there. I'm not sure if you could see it here on YouTube, but on Instagram, there is Rudolph and, of course, Santa on his trusty steed, Rudolph. Like I said, Four Horsemen Studios. I'm sure that I think they might still have a few of them, but this is quite an incredible figure. And wanted to start off the show this week referencing it because last week I started off the show referencing it. And they have this figure obscura line. That they release. Well, they release characters that are from. Well, they're from different types of holidays. So of course I'm waiting for the leprechaun. I'm waiting for the leprechaun for St. Patrick's Day, or maybe an Easter bunny, or something to that effect. What was that? Oh, I didn't give out how they can. Well, of course. Once again, we're broadcasting live WDCE 90.1 FM. That is the University of Richmond radio. It's an actual broadcast signal, if you will. Yes, a real broadcast signal, not a podcast, a real broadcast signal. But another way you can listen to us, you can download the Simple Radio app. Search WDCE, and you can be a part of the show, or listen to it live, as you will. So listen to the show live. The reason why I say that is because I do have callers call in, and I oftentimes I get the feedback that you can't hear the callers on YouTube or Instagram. But if you do download the Simple Radio app, you'll be able to listen to the show live in its the best quality possible. A couple of things here. I do have the SamCam live here as well. The SamCam up and running here on Instagram and on YouTube. So, yes, a real broadcast signal from a real puppet. So shout out to Destro. The Prophet Director, should I say. Don't want to use his government name. But yes, the Prophet Director, who is first over here on Instagram, Triple D as well, Big M as also. And here we are on YouTube. As well. Mark Cosplay, I see that he is there. Ash Bailey, MC DJ, Big M, the Prophet Director, also there in the YouTube chat as well. One of the things I try to do is I try to make sure that I highlight certain comments that do pop up every now and then as I am going through the show every single morning. But hope everyone is having an amazing, incredible Saturday morning. And I know that I am as well. Now, I did have the news. Hold on, let me see. Where is that? Aha. Yes, I was talking earlier about tearing down of statues. Well, because we did start at around 8 o'clock, 8:15 maybe or so, and we do play a radio drama. Who's been Gunsmoke quite frequently over the last few weeks. Do you remember Gunsmoke? You remember Gunsmoke? James Arness? Well, this isn't James Arness as Marshall Matt Dillon. No, no, no. This is William Conrad. Do you remember William Conrad? Do you remember the old show Jake and the Fat Man? Yes, Jake and the Fat Man. It was a show in the 80s. Jake and the Fat Man. Yeah, the Fat Man. Well, the Fat Man is who is playing Marshall Dillon. Well, I don't know if he was fat back in 1952. He probably was healthy and, very robust. I'm not really sure. But it was from May 24th, 1952. The question is where were you in 1952? That is the question. But so we've been playing the Gunsmoke radio dramas here on a weekly basis and getting some positive feedback about that. But it just allows us to get to the studio here a little bit earlier. And but yeah, so praise Santa. He shall destroy Lord Blanket. That's a good that's a good comment. Big M. I see Big M saying, praise Santa, he will destroy Lord Blanket. Well, it's the power of the golden giraffe. The power of the golden giraffe, which was destroyed several years ago when the kingdoms of the golden giraffe had fallen. You guys remember the kingdoms of the golden giraffe? They were everywhere. And of course, Lord Blanket, noticing that back in the late 70s, early 80s, that the child who he was with, Lord Blanket being passed down from generation to generation. So he's seen quite his share of toys, wind-up toys, steel cars, old Barbies, old GI Joes, the original GI Joes, and just things throughout the course of time. But then all of a sudden, in the early 80s, a child came back with figures from the kingdom of the golden giraffe. Of course, it was at that time that Lord Blanket decided that, well, I'm not going to have and stand for this. So what does Lord Blanket do? He decides to have a quest, his own quest to gain the power of the golden giraffe and make sure that all those toys that were coming in were a part of his own army. And well, because Lord Blanket was upset. Being the original toy, the blanket. You're familiar with that. Yes, because it was the blanket that would turn you, a child, into a superhero. You just throw it on your back and it becomes a cape. You become a superhero. Or let's say you do have some action figures or toys, you just throw it on the ground and it becomes a playset. All kinds of stuff. Or, if you're Linus, it becomes a slingshot. Good grief. Yeah, no, but Linus would use it as a slingshot. You could use it as a weapon. You could snap it, almost like a towel. You're familiar with snapping a towel? So, but yeah, so Lord Blanket, of course, over the course of years, wanted to destroy the kingdoms of the golden giraffe and was eventually successful. The kingdoms of the golden giraffe had fallen, and the power of the golden giraffe was then taken over by Lord Blanket. But it seems, though, that this holiday season, something is amiss. The imagination, if you will, of children all over the world, I do not think it can be destroyed. Imagination is something that Lord Blanket can't really control exactly. But we shall see. We do have Santa here on, like I said, his trusty steed, Rudolph. And it is quite possible that Toy Town may be resurrected. Well, no, maybe not physically, but in your own heart. In your own heart. And maybe in your own house. You have your own Toy Town. Yes, of course, I do live and broadcast from Toy Town from time to time. But you have your own Toy Town. And, well, some of you have your own soulless Detolf. And I guess that would be considered your own Toy Town as well. But you do have your own Toy Town, and it is that imagination and that wonder that supposedly will crush Lord Blanket's desires to gain the power of the golden giraffe because the power of the golden giraffe lies within you. At least that's what they say. I'm not really sure, but what I do know is that it is Saturday morning, and of course, every Saturday morning I do this. I go and grab a newspaper. Yes, an actual newspaper. Yes, you can get that out of my face. Get that. Okay. So a real newspaper. And of course, we wanted to start off with some of the news that is here locally. So once again, now this particular newspaper is from Wednesday, so it is considered, I guess, old news. So I don't have a toy town. I have a toy headquarters, a toy drone, if you will. Well, touche. It's still a toy town. It is still a toy town, but yes, of course. So shout out to Profit Director. Toy Town will rise like a phoenix from the ashes, says Big M. So we shall see. We shall see. It is the quest of Lord Blanket. A toyer drone? A toyer drone. Yeah, a toyer drone. I left out the R at first. Well, I like toy drone. You know, the R is silent, if you will. If you want to roll the R's, you can toyer drone. Yeah, toyer drone. People wondering exactly what's going on here. What I'm referencing is, once again, I told you guys I'm down here reading things in the chat. So this is an interactive show, ladies and gentlemen, an interactive show where we are broadcasting live on the radio. But I do have people that are watching on Instagram and people who are watching also on YouTube. Yes, toyer drone. Yes. So anyways, Mark, you should know. I guess Mark should know. Am I rolling the R's correctly? You know, because Mark, if anybody would know about rolling R's, it would be Mark. Have you ever heard Mark Cosplay sing? It's almost as good as myself, but yes, he does have quite the set of pipes. Yes, quite the set of pipes. Perhaps maybe one day we should do a duet. Yeah, it might break the internet though. I'm not really sure. But anyway, so here we are. The Richmond Times-Dispatch here on Wednesday. Casino sits atop Richmond's wish list. The question is do you have a wish list? Do you have a holiday wish list? Because it seems that the city of Richmond has a wish list. I didn't know about it. I didn't get the memo until Wednesday that Richmond had a wish list. But obviously sits atop of that wish list is a casino. Some legislators say they are more focused on affordable housing. But it seems to be that the casino is the way to go. Richmond's first wish from the General Assembly is another opportunity for voters to approve a casino. Even if the city has to share regional gaming revenues with a potential rival operation in Petersburg. Most of Richmond's legislative priorities for the coming assembly session center on promoting affordable housing and protecting existing homeowners from being taxed out of their minds by an overheated housing market. The city also wants its second highest priority to prevent any state effort to accelerate the required completion of a $1.3 billion combined sewer cleanup of the James River before 2035. Wait, so it's going to take us? It's going to take us till 2035 to clean up the James River. Please tell me you're not eating fish out of the James River. That would be disgusting. Hell, I wouldn't even go and swim in the James River if I were you. And all the stuff that gets dumped in there. Meanwhile, Senator Joe Morrissey, Democrat in Richmond, who is pushing the assembly to allow a casino in Petersburg and block a second vote in Richmond, said Tuesday he will propose to ban assault rifles to prevent their use in additional mass shootings. I'm ready to ban them, Morrissey said, with no exceptions. So how the hell did we get from talking about casinos, affordable housing, and then he's talking about guns? You know, I am sick and tired of all of these politicians talking about the damn guns and banning the damn guns. And you know what? Any of those people who are out there who do have guns, listen, I don't care what you have. You can have a cannon for all I care. But the reality is that the government has space lasers. You know that? So all these people that sit there and worry about, oh my gosh, you know, guns, you know, the government has space lasers. So if you want to do anything about anything, well, the reality is that space lasers are really what's in charge. You know, not an AR. So in 2020, when the Democrats held the governorship and controlled the General Assembly, the legislature passed, and Governor Ralph Northam Infanticide Northam, signed a series of gun violence measures, and he also sought to ban assault-style weapons, but the measure failed in the state Senate. And then Republicans now hold the governorship and control the House of Delegates. So it's not going to pass anyways. It's not going to pass. Shout out to Roundhead, who's just joining us here. But Heidi ho. So Heidi ho. Mark Cosplay says that there's a rumor that if you swim in the James River, you can get frog legs. And I don't think that there's a cure for that. So you might as well be careful. Make sure that you're not swimming around in the James River, because according to Mark Cosplay and his sources, that you will grow a set of frog legs. So anyway, so we're talking about Richmond's wish list. Which Richmond's wish list is affordable housing, protecting existing homeowners from getting taxed out the wazoo, and then also casino, and also sewage cleanup as well. So that is it. Another thing, of course, we have here is the Trump company convicted in New York of tax fraud. Ex-president's organization could be fined up to 1.6 million as punishment. Perhaps we'll get to that story a little bit later. We will get to that a little bit later. Let me see here. Do I have the phone? Let me see. I think we have the phone. Do we have the phone? Okay, we do have the phone. All right, so we have the phone up, and I guess we're waiting for Deep Cut Dave to give us a call. Deep Cut Dave did send me a list this week of some deep cuts. Wanted to go over those with him this morning. Of course, you're probably wondering, well, what exactly happens here on Saturday morning radio? Well, I do take cartoon theme requests. Of course, we give Dave the floor at the beginning of the show, and the reason being is because Dave comes in with the heavy hitters. He comes in with all the deep cuts, the deep dives, if you will, some cartoons and theme songs that you might not be familiar with. And Dave, of course, being a former college professor, is going to educate all of you like he does every single Saturday morning when he calls in here in just a few moments. But of course, if you do have a set of songs that you would like to hear on a Saturday morning, reach out to me at Sam Newsman on Instagram, at Sam Newsman on Twitter. You can also reach out to me on the website, www.samnewsman.com. That's samnewsman.com. Started to post a couple of the shows up on the website as well. So, we're trying to do that. We have some things coming in the future, including a possible subscription service where you can listen and download previous shows that have not ever been released, and also interviews with me and celebrities. So it seems that I think that we do have Dave here on the line now. Dave, let's see here. Well, there he is. Dave, are you there?
Hey, Sam, how y'all doing today?
We're doing fantastic. The question is how are you? It's been quite an incredible, crazy week. Any eventful moments that you've had happen this week? Did you buy any new toys?
No. I'm working my way through the stuff I've already bought. So,
No, have you bought any toys for anybody else? It is Christmas. Have you been shopping? Have you been?
No, I haven't bought anybody else any toys. Opened up a Riot Squad Desert Commando though.
Riot Squad Desert Commando. Tell us about the Riot Squad Desert Commando. What do you think about it?
Well, it's not bad. It's part of the Eagle Force relaunch. You remember that?
Yeah, Eagle Force, and I believe is that a 3 3/4? Is that a 3 3/4 line?
It is now, yes.
It is now, but it wasn't. So can you talk about what it once was and what it is now?
Well, it's funny. Well, are you familiar with Mego?
Yes, I am familiar with Mego.
Well, Eagle Force was supposed to be Mego's last stab at profit, and it did very well in 1981, but not well enough.
Well, so they had to fold.
Yeah, I mean it's like it sold, but not enough to keep them in the black, and they folded a few years after.
Now, but of course, there is a new line that came out. I think I remember seeing them at Joe Fest several years ago, but they have
a company called Zika.
Zika. Yes, Zika.
I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Zika Toys.
Yeah, they got the license, and they are reissuing the figures. Well, I mean, they're remaking the figures, and the original Eagle Force figures were like, I remember them being pretty small, like I want to say 2-3 inches.
Right.
And kind of weird. It's like the arms and heads were plastic, but the bodies were metal.
Oh, well, that's that kind of harkens back to the if I'm not mistaken, the what was it? The Bionic Six. Bionic Six had something similar to that, where they were metal, and
Yeah, yeah. So, well, anyway, the new Riot Squad Commando. Well, I thought it was ridiculously overpriced. I mean, and it's like Zika, man, bless your hearts, but I mean, you're asking like $25 to $30 a pop.
yeah, and they are quite expensive for what they are. And now I'm very familiar with Zika toys because being a Sectars fan, several years ago they had a Kickstarter campaign where
Yes,
where
yes,
they yep.
I picked up a few of those.
Yeah, definitely. I have the entire line. And I bought a bunch of them at the time. Definitely invested my money heavily in that Kickstarter campaign. And but was one of the interesting things about the Zika packaging. I know a lot of times people open up their action figures, and when they open up their action figures, they have to take a blow dryer to it or put it in hot water. If I recall correctly, that Zika Toys puts a blow dryer image on their packaging, telling you you need to give this thing a blow. I mean, a blow dryer. Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, you blow dry it. Yeah, exactly. But that it's phrasing. Yes, exactly. I'm trying to articulate it. Well, because a lot of people need to heat up their toys, but that's what I believe that Zika has on the back of their boxes is a blow dryer, indicating that you do need to heat up the joints or else they might snap. So, do the Riot did the Eagle Force Riot, did that have a blow dryer on the back as well? Tell me.
You know what? Let me take a look here. I will say this about the package. It is pretty neat. You slide the cardboard right off the plastic.
Oh yes.
You don't tear anything.
Oh, it's nice that they did that because they did not do that with the Sectars. You had to sit there and open up the bubble, and so.
Yeah. No, I don't see. Not seeing any blow dryer.
Oh well, it did. Well, that's interesting. So I guess maybe they've tightened up their QC issues because I do know that on the back of all the Sectars boxes that they did have a blow dryer emblem indicating that you do need to heat up the joints so that they don't snap. But
yes, on the Sectars they do.
Yep. So, but yes, Zika Toys very familiar with that. Zika Toys also they tried to do a second Kickstarter with some of the other characters in the Sectars line, and that failed. I was very upset, very distraught. But I do love those Sectar figures because if you do have some of the old puppets from the old Coleco line, remember Coleco with ColecoVision? Coleco did the original Sectars line. Those 3 3/4 Sectars scale very well with those hand puppets and definitely with the Hive. So I really was a big fan of those. Was upset that second Kickstarter campaign did not go through, but now Nacelle, I believe, has the license now for Sectars, and they're going to be releasing those pretty soon. But those are kind of expensive as well, $40, I believe, for each figure. My gosh, what's going on? What's going on with it? I mean, people will say, "Oh, it's inflation," but I just think that these companies are just starting to get greedy. At least that's my opinion.
I mean, I get wanting to make a profit, but I mean, I remember back. I sound very old. Back in my day, $20 could get you practically the entire line, or at least most
yes,
of the figures.
Exactly. You're spot on. It would get you a whole lot for your money back in the day. Now, $20 would just be for the accessory pack.
At best.
Yeah, at best. Yeah. And that's not counting tax.
There's no way my parents would have bought me a $40, action figure. No, they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you must be out your mind. Go outside and just, whittle some sticks and build your own action figure. So.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, listen, you sent me a few songs to go over this week. The first one, of course, is being the ABC Weekend Special. Can you go and talk about the ABC Weekend Special? 1977, it was a special that I believe would come on ABC. What was that all about?
Well, it was usually the last thing ABC would air on Saturday mornings before it went over to local programming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was. It was sort of a dual purpose program. On the one hand, they would have adaptations of like young adult stories.
What do you mean by young adult stories?
Well, for kids.
Oh, okay.
For kids and tweens, I guess, teenagers, not quite children, not quite teenagers.
Oh, the kids that were sleeping in.
Dumping ground for whatever animated pilots they weren't quite sure would sell.
Ah, okay. And so that would be. And how long do you know how long that lasted? And it lasted a few years.
I want to say 77 up through I want to say 80. I want to say 85, 86.
Okay, so about midway through the 80s as well.
Yeah. Later on, they introduced the character of Captain O.G. Reedmore.
Oh, I'm Captain O.G. Reedmore. My mind's tried and true. Read a book today, blah, 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 blah. You'll read more too.
Yeah, that was
Yep, I remember Captain O.G. Reedmore, so that's definitely a deep cut. I'm going to have to play some of that next week as well. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's where he made his debut, and then he became sort of an unofficial host on the ABC lineup.
Right. Now, also, we've played a couple of different versions of this, but there is another Scooby-Doo intro. This one is now called the Scooby-Doo Show. So we had Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And then we had the other Scooby-Doo, I think, that has all of the celebrities. And then now we have the Scooby-Doo movies. And yes, and now we have the Scooby-Doo Show. Can you talk to us? What's the difference between this one and the other ones?
Well, the Scooby-Doo Show, and funny enough, it has been released on DVD, but as third season of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?
Oh, okay. All right. But it was just Hanna-Barbera just doing another Scooby-Doo run with more episodes.
I suppose you'd call it a return to the classic, or going back to the original format. Basically, Mystery Inc., Fred, Daphne, Velma, Shaggy, just tool around the world and solve mysteries. Interesting.
Yeah,
I think the Scooby-Doo, I want to say it was more international, like they're going to different, foreign ports of call.
Oh, okay. So traveling around the world.
I think, could be wrong, but which of course begs the question of man, how'd you get the mystery machine to the South Seas?
Yeah, well, listen, it's one of those things, television magic, if you will. It's television magic. Yeah, or actually, it's just CGI. It was CGI before CGI. Cartoon eye. I don't know. Anyways, so the last thing that I wanted to talk about real quick before I let you go is the deep cut that you wanted to reference, and that is Bigfoot and the Muscle Machines. Can you talk to us about Bigfoot and the Muscle Machines? What's that all about?
Well, are you familiar with Bigfoot, the monster truck?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I'm very familiar with Bigfoot, the monster truck. One of the between Bigfoot and I believe Gravedigger, those were two monster trucks that were very popular in the 80s.
Yeah, Bigfoot actually started 1975.
Wow. Okay, so he's been around a while. Is Bigfoot still running around too? Is he still?
It's still, Bigfoot's been reformatted. I think it's on Bigfoot 20 now.
Oh, there you go. Well, but he's still rolling. Rolling. So that's.
It's funny. This guy named Bob Chandler, he just took a pickup truck. He loved off-roading, and he just kept refitting. He got some Army surplus tires.
Did Bigfoot start the whole monster truck rally thing?
It may have. I know he. It's funny. He shot a video. I mean, this is just for he and his friends, and he played at his garage. He just got his truck and he rolled over a bunch of junk cars. Well, this motocross guy just walked into the shop, saw that, and he thought, "I'm going to pay you money for having you do that again."
Nice. Well, that's it. Have you ever been to a monster truck rally?
I've seen a few.
Oh, okay. They used to come to the Richmond Coliseum from time to time, but Richmond Coliseum has been shuttered for the last couple of years, and who knows what's going to ever happen to it. But I would love to go back to another monster truck rally. Those things are pretty cool. I feel sorry for all the poor little cars underneath their big tires. So they don't stand a chance.
Starting in the 80s, the Chandler family would license Bigfoot out, like appearances in TV and movies and such. And 1985, they licensed it to Marvel.
So this is a Marvel-produced show.
Yes. Have you ever heard of Super Saturday or Super Six?
I have now.
You have now. Okay.
I have now.
But that was a collection of shows. They would play. Well, Jim and the Holograms actually got started on that.
Oh, okay.
But they would play like 15 to 17 minutes per episode of the show. Little cliffhangers to keep coming back next week. Bigfoot was serialized on that. I think the whole runtime is like 50 minutes.
Oh, well, that doesn't, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Broken up into 15-minute spots. So.
I hear that. So how long did this Bigfoot and the Muscle Machines cartoon last?
Well, like I said, 50 minutes.
Oh, so it was just one 50-minute episode?
Yeah, basically a pilot movie, and it didn't get picked up.
Oh, another one of those. Now, can you see this online anywhere? Can we download this? Watch it on YouTube, or is there a?
Unofficially, yes.
Unofficially, you can watch it online on YouTube. Do they have a DVD or a version that you can pick up and purchase?
I think it maybe got released to VHS, but I wouldn't swear to it.
Okay. Well, if any of you VHS hunters out there, be on the lookout at Goodwill, I guess, if you want to try to find it out there.
The show, it's funny, according to this, Bigfoot's driven by a guy named Yank Justice.
Yank Justice. Yeah, I guess, was he a Republican? Wait, zing?
Well, he was voiced by Lance Legault.
Who was that?
Well, he's an actor. The name sounds familiar. I think he was in, I want to say, Last Starfighter.
Okay. Well, the name does not ring a bell at the moment, but I'm sure that he probably did do a bunch of other stuff out there as well. So.
Yeah, but the rest of the cast is pretty much straight Hasbro, Sunbow. You got Susan Silo, Peter Cullen, Arthur Burkhardt.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. So that is Bigfoot and the Muscle Machines from 1985. We'll be playing that theme song here in a moment. Well, Dave, listen, it was wonderful chatting with you. I would tell everybody where to follow you, but the only place they can follow you is here every Saturday morning when you give us an education on all the deep cuts that we might not know about. So I want to thank you, of course, for calling in. And I hope you have a fantastic and productive weekend with your Eagle Force. Is Eagle Force, right? Eagle Force action figures.
The line's Eagle Force, the Riot Squad, they're the bad guys.
Oh, well, the bad guys are always better than the good guys anyway. So we'll have fun this weekend, Dave, and we will chat next week. One of the things I think the next week we should start doing is send me some of your Christmas deep cut things. So
okay.
So we'll start doing the next 2 weeks. We have so as we go to Christmas, we'll have a Christmas Eve show as well on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
But starting next week, let's start doing some Christmas deep cuts and remind me about Captain OG Reborn as well, because I do want to start playing him. But you.
I'd like to give a special shout. If you can't play the Alf theme.
I have it queued. I do have it all queued up, and of course, the whole set list is going to be dedicated exactly to that individual that I have right here in front of me.
Okay. I'm sure she'll get a kick out of it.
Awesome. Well, fantastic, Dave. You have a wonderful rest of the weekend, and we will talk to you next weekend as well.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Yep, that is Deep Cut Dave. Deep Cut Dave coming in with the deep cuts and the deep dives, things that you've not heard. Now, of course, what he was just talking about here just a moment ago, we do have this particular set is dedicated to the Queen of the Frozen North, Airbeam, Queen of the Frozen North. And that's who this next set list is dedicated to from top to bottom. Another thing, of course, that we have is a couple of people that joined into the chat. Go Figure Go and Animal Mother Customs. If you've not followed Animal Mother Customs or Go Figure Go, you should, because I believe they are going to have a raffle if they haven't already have done that. But there's a raffle, $20 buy-in. You can get some amazing, amazing products from Go Figure Go and also Animal Mother Customs. Some amazing artwork. You know, I'm always a big fan of the toy community that is out there. Shout out to White Vegeta. Follow White Vegeta on Instagram as well. And of course, DFS Infinite. DFS Infinite. Someone else you want to follow as well, because these individuals are into the custom toy making. You know, not only are they collectors, but they are creators. They're artists, if you will. So check them out when you get it. Now, White Vegeta has an opt-in as well. White Vegeta has an opt-in. That ends tonight. He just told me that. So that ends tonight. So if you want to opt into White Vegeta's raffle, do that by tonight. That is White Vegeta, WHITEVEGETA. And also Animal Mother Customs 80 and Go Figure Go. You can search both of them and just make sure that you get your raffle spot in for some amazing custom artwork made by these individuals. Incredible stuff. I'm a big fan of these, these artists, if you will. Waffle time. Yes, it's a waffle. I'm sorry, I said raffle. I meant waffle. Yeah, it's not a raffle. It's a waffle. Yeah. So, anyways, back to what we were talking about. This set list, of course, goes out to Airbeam, Queen of the North. Got a secret theme that's going to be in here as well. But once again, shout out to Deep Cut Dave, and of course, we'll be back at the top of the hour with some more information. And of course, I believe TNT Nate is going to be calling up with some information about a big nothing burger known as the Twitter Drops. So that'll be on the other side of the break. And of course, here you are listening to the only radio show dedicated to the magic and nostalgia of Saturday morning, hosted by me, a real puppet, broadcasting live from the WDCE studios out of the University of Richmond. You're listening to 90.1 FM at Sam Newsman on Instagram, at Sam Newsman here on YouTube, Sam Newsman on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch. So follow me all those places as well. And like I said, we'll see you guys on the other side of the break. Broadcasting live from the most trusted puppet in media, reporting since Roswell. I'm Sam Newsman, and this is Saturday Morning.